We don't want to do it. We just don't want to do it, my dear friends. So I hope you understand, and I hope that we would listen to people like General Colin Powell and others who literally spent their lives, their adult lives, in service of their country and in the uniform. I think on issues like these, those people are the kind of people we need to listen to on an issue such as this. Can I do one more here real quick, if anybody? There's one right here, sir. Yes, sir.
Senator, you have spoken and taken an admittedly unpopular position that we need to stay the course in Iraq, and I greatly respect you for having the courage to say that. But I think the American people also need to know, what is success there? How do you perceive it? And how long do you see it taking us to achieve it, if it's achievable?
I believe success is the classic counterinsurgency success, the success of any classic counterinsurgency. And what that really is that the people come over to our side, and that's happened in Anbar and parts of Baghdad and other places, and we're able to have the Iraqi military and people take over those responsibilities. As you know, we have thousands of volunteers now in Anbar province. We're paying them, but they're volunteering to do checkpoints and things like that. Our troops are able to withdraw to enclaves and support roles and eventually withdraw or stay. I mean, we've stayed in South Korea, we've stayed in Kuwait, we've stayed in Bosnia, but the key is the casualties, American casualties. And I'm aware, as I said earlier, the frustration of the American people about the failures for nearly 4 years. And as I mentioned, I'm the only one that condemned the old strategy and said that we've got to have the new strategy. But that means a government that's functioning more effectively. I'm disappointed in the Maliki government. I know you are too. We've still got Iraqi police that are basically just Shiite militia and not performing the functions, to say the least, that police should. But I can also tell you that the oil revenue sharing is going on a de facto basis. Local governments are working. The situation in these, in case you missed the news article, on New Year's Eve, for the first time in years, thousands of Iraqis went out into the streets in Baghdad and celebrated New Year's. You couldn't have done that a year ago, my friends. So there has been that kind of progress. But that kind of progress has to continue, and I still worry about the political scene or others dictating an early withdrawal. The person who should decide when the troops are withdrawn, they're one David Petraeus, and nobody else, because he's the one we've given the responsibility to. But I think the classic counterinsurgency is reduction of casualties, removal of Americans for the front lines. The Iraqis take over more and more of the responsibility. Their government, their economic and political and social activities continue in a stable society. Let me just mention to you the hardest part of a peaceful resolution or a successful resolution of the issue of Iraq is not elections, it's rule of law. That's the hardest thing to bring into being, particularly in a country that's never known it. The #1 target of Al-Qaeda today, my friends, is judges. Judges. They know that if you get the rule of law, which is the hardest thing to bring in any democracy, then that's what success means, and that's what bothers me. Frankly, that's my greatest concern, is rule of law, so that citizens will know that they have recourse if their rights are violated, and that's going to be the toughest part. But I do see us succeeding there, and if we can reduce dramatically and end American casualties, then the American people will have the patience. But if we don't, then I don't see a good outcome. And again, the suicide bombers is the spectacular side of it that unfortunately is going to be the hardest to combat. Could I again say to the young man standing in the Air Force, I thank you for serving. I thank you for being there. I also want to tell you my commitment to make sure that our military is best equipped and best trained and most professional as they are in the world. And I'm very proud of my record of service in the military and my support of the military. But I also feel a very strong obligation that your tax dollars are most efficiently used. And I look at BAE, and I look at the